are on Spotify. I don't know the dates we did the other ones. We've done everything. We've done except one. We did the AFC North, South, West. We've done all of the NFC, the East, the North, and the South and the West. But I don't know when we did them. I can tell you, John, that if we just go in random order, in the AFC North, we've got the Bengals at 14-3, the Ravens at 12-5. In the South, we've got the Texans at 10-7, and the Jaguars at 9-8. In the West, we've got the Broncos 12-5, Chargers 11-6, Chiefs 10-7. These are all based nothing more than the schedule release in May and wherever we are with the teams when we do the predictions. We get to redo it in a month. We got to do our official predict. We don't go game by game or anything like that. NFC, the Eagles in the East 13-4. In the North, the Lions are going to win. Either they're going to be 14-3 or 13-4. We're not sure. And then you've got we had the Packers at 12-5. We know that's getting modified. And the Bears were at 10-7. The South, the Saints go 9-8 and win. Everybody else sucks. The West, we originally had the Seahawks at 13-4, the Rams and Niners at 12-5. We might adjust that. So that's where we stand. Once we get everything done, we can make our non-official wild card predictions, and then none of it matters because we go back and we have to redo everything when we have all of the various information. So are you ready, Steve?
Hold on. And to help John out, look,
Please.
we did this pretty much right after the schedules were released. So to help narrow it down, find the date of the schedule release, and I think the first 4 or so were done pretty much right after that.
And then after that, we were all over the place, like this week doing one more, and now we're going to finish it. So let's get this done so we can figure out what we have for this year's. Which, what are we, 37 days? We're somewhere around, late 30 days until the the NFL season starts. So the AFC East is the only division we haven't done since the schedule was released. Last year, Patriots wound up in the Super Bowl, went 14-3. Bills were 12-5. Dolphins 7-10. Jets 3-14. We'll go through them in that order, game by game, and see what we come up with for this season. A lot of people are saying the Patriots, not only will they not get to the Super Bowl, some are saying they'll fight to be in the postseason. Let's see what we think as we go through the schedule, Steve. The Patriots, of course, will open up the official season Wednesday night, September 9th. They will be at Seattle.
Loss.
They will host the Steelers.
Win.
By the way, you'll only hear me chime in if I disagree. Usually Steve and I are spot on. Like the Lions. I have his Lions with one more win than he does. Other than that, we're usually on the same page. The Patriots, week 3, are at Jacksonville.
I will give them a loss.
Now, are you in that camp of the Patriots are taking a step back this year, and how dramatic of one?
Yes, I like the offseason moves they've had. I think they could be a better team this year than they were last year, but they don't have the luxury of the easiest schedule in the NFL that we've seen in like the last 10 years. So their schedule is going to be a lot more difficult. And there's always that Super Bowl curse. I mean, you can say what you want about it, but we see that team that loses in the Super Bowl struggle that following year.
So in week 4, the Patriots are at Buffalo.
Loss.
Then they host the Raiders.
Win.
They host the Jets.
Win.
And they go to Chicago.
Loss.
Okay. They lose at Chicago, but do they lose at Miami?
They win at Miami.
They host Green Bay.
Win.
I agree only because and maybe this is what you're doing. I was looking ahead too. So they host Green Bay and they win, but what about when they host your Lions?
It's an international game. I think in Germany is where they're playing,
true.
And I have a loss there.
Yeah, they're not really hosting. You're right. I should have pointed that out. All right, so then they get their bye week, a week 11 bye for the Patriots, and we have 5 wins and 5 losses for the Patriots. So they go 500 before their bye. Then they go to the Chargers.
Loss.
They host the Bills.
Loss.
Wow, so you got them losing both times to the Bills. They host Minnesota.
Win.
They go to Kansas City.
Loss.
We're now, by the way, the week of Christmas. That's December 21st. Then they're at the Jets.
A win.
They host Denver.
A loss.
and they host Miami.
A win.
Win there. I got to cross reference and put all the Miami loss. So they're sweeping both Miami and the Jets. The Patriots are in so far. So that puts the Patriots. They had 5 wins, 6, 7. They have 8 wins, 8 and 9. Wow, 8 and 9.
I'm looking for a setback.
That's a big setback. That's a non-postseason setback.
I am looking at a non-postseason setback for the Patriots. Sorry, Patriot fans.
Wow. I have not contemplated the seriousness of agreeing with you, which is the Patriots. It ain't going to be the same as it was. Schedule, other issues. 8 and 9 and not even going to the playoffs. I mean, we just did it game by game. I'm not sure if I'll stick with that when we're done.
And I think there's a little bit more. I think the Vrabel off season really, has an effect on the team, and in addition to the, losing in the Super Bowl, I just a lot of things going on there that bother me.
All right. So with that, we will go to the Bills. They've been God. They were supposed to go to the Super Bowl how many friggin' times, and they still haven't. Is this finally the year they start at Houston in Week 1?
Let's go with a win.
Wow, what a game! Thursday night football, Week 2, my birthday, September 17th. The Bills host Steve's Detroit Lions.
A win, new stadium. Anxious to see it. I can't wait to see this game in the new stadium. I love the reveals of the new stadiums.
Also, they are then in Week 3. They are at the Chargers.
No, they're home against the Chargers.
They're home against the Chargers. Yes, I apologize.
Let's give them the win.
They start 4-0. Okay.
Yep.
Again, I'll speak up if I disagree. It's just sometimes I go, wow, the Bills are going to be 4-0. Okay. Then they're at the Rams. That should stop that.
A loss.
That's a great game, by the way. Bills, Rams. That's a Monday night game, we should point out. Then they're at the Raiders.
A win.
All right. Now, bye week, Week 7. I know you don't like late bye weeks. Week 7's early. Do you like that?
That's way too early for me. I like it sitting right around, 9, 10-ish, right in there.
So the Bills go into Week 7, 5-1. They're off, and then they come out of it and they host the Ravens. Woo!
A win.
Then they go to Minnesota.
A win.
They go to the Jets.
A win.
They host Miami.
A win.
They host. Is this? Yeah, Thanksgiving, right? Thanksgiving night. They host the Chiefs.
A loss.
Whoa! In Buffalo.
They have been dominating KC in the regular season, and they always lose in the postseason. I'm flipping the tables. Let's go with a loss in the regular season so they can finally get a win in the postseason.
All right. Then Week 14, we're in the middle of December, and the Bills are at Green Bay.
Win, I believe, is what I had.
They host the Bears.
I think you missed at Green Bay.
We just did that, and you said I think I had.
I thought we did at New England.
Yes, well, we already did that one.
Oh, okay. A win.
Sorry, I skipped over because we gave Buffalo the sweep over the Patriots. I'm
got
sorry.
it. I was just trying to follow along, and you lost me. So
no, you're right. I'm the one with the visual, not you. So let's go back. They lose to the Chiefs.
Yep.
They're at New England, and we have the Bills winning at New England.
Yep.
Now, do you want to stick with a win at Green Bay?
No, I'm going to give them a loss at Green Bay.
All right, and then they host the Bears.
A win.
And they're at Denver.
A loss.
These are some good games. Then they're at Miami. Not a good game. And they're at the Jets.
A win.
So they will ultimately be 2 more is 12-5. That sounds right. 12-5 for the Bears. Bills.
I think 12-5, fighting for that number 1 seed in the AFC is right where they need to be.
So that leaves the Dolphins and the Jets. The Dolphins, they will. Well, hey, they're going to start the season in Las Vegas. I don't remember if we gave the Raiders one of these wins or not. I don't remember. We can't cross-reference every damn game. So right now today, the Dolphins open at Las Vegas and Kirk Cousins.
A loss.
Yes. And then they're at San Francisco.
A win. No, I'm just joking. A loss.
Hey, if San Francisco can field a team,
Yeah, what are they down? The first top 4 wide receivers now are in the medical room?
Shut up. And their coach, I don't know what his condition is. Then they host, who is this? The Dolphins host the Chiefs.
A loss.
So they're 0-3 to start the season. Now, do the Dolphins pull out a win at Minnesota?
No, a loss.
Okay, what about they host the Bengals?
No, a loss.
Then they get their bye week in week 6.
Y
So
y
the Dolphins will be 0-5. They get their bye week. I guess they can switch quarterback now.
I was gonna say, and is Malik Willis still the quarterback going into the next game, or have they just moved on and now I'm trying to think who their backup quarterback is.
Right? There is no competition, is there, in Miami?
Yeah, yeah, they're at Quinn Ewers at this point going, "Okay, Quinn,
Oh,
let's see what you can do."
really?
Yes.
Okay. Uh, do they have a third stringer? Yeah, you're right.
Uh,
Oh,
Dolphins, Cam Miller, don't know who that is.
perfect. All right. Then they're back at action. Week 7. Do they win? They're 0-5. The Dolphins are. They come back week
Yep,
7 after the bye week. They're at the Jets.
a loss.
Okay. They
Oh
lose.
gosh.
They lose
No,
to New England.
I'm a
What?
loss.
Yeah. Okay. They lose to New England. Then they host Detroit.
A loss.
Right. Then they're at the Colts.
A loss.
We already have them losing at Buffalo. They host the Jets the week after Thanksgiving.
A win. I don't wish for anyone, other than the Cleveland Browns and the Detroit Lions
And
and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
it does feel like we could easily be like an 0-10 Dolphins team, and the Dolphins, who have the undefeated record, could be sitting there going, "Are we going to be the next one to not win?" Uh,
Right. Their only shots to this point is week 1 against Vegas. If they go and lose that, and then week 7 against the Jets. That's it going into week 12. If they blow both of those games, they're 0-11 going into week 12.
right, and we have them blowing those games, except the one week 12, yeah, where we finally give them a win,
Yep.
where they host the Jets. All right, then we begin December, and the Dolphins go to Denver.
A loss.
They host Chicago.
A win.
No.
I gotta get them out of 1. They're gonna win more than that, and you just on it. They need to get to like 3 wins, but if I give them the loss at Chicago, they're gonna have 1. That'll be it.
They are at Green Bay,
Loss.
and they host the Chargers.
A loss.
And then we already know they're going to lose hosting the Bills and going to the Patriots. Well, that gives them two wins at 2 and 15.
I'm looking at this going, what the best they can do is 4. If they pull a miracle, what do they get to 5 wins on the season? I don't know what their over and under season total is right now. But
I
man,
see.
I don't think I could be betting it. If it's like 5.5, I couldn't be betting the over.
I see a miracle of 5 wins because that would give them opening day, as you said, at the Raiders. That would give them, in my world, they would beat the Jets in New York in week 6. Now we're up to 4. The other one I see that could be the miracle when they're at Minnesota in week 4. Other than that, it would truly be the headline game. It would truly be the how did the Dolphins beat Niners, Chiefs, Bengals, Patriots, Lions, Colts, Bills, Broncos, Bears, Packers. I mean,
How,
there's
how do
nothing
they
there.
how do they pull this schedule? They were bad last year, and this schedule is just like playoff team after playoff team. And by the way, their over and under on the season total is 4.5, and it's under like minus $1.45. So it is favored to be less than 4.5 wins. And I can see why looking at this
Yeah.
schedule.
Oh yeah, if I was betting it, that's where I would head. That leaves the Jets, who open the season at Tennessee. Oh, there's a barn burner. Oh,
I don't remember what I gave it, but let's give it a loss to play
yeah, that
fun.
seems right. All right, then the Jets host the Packers.
Loss.
They go to Detroit.
Loss.
They go to Chicago.
Loss.
Week 5, October 11th, the Jets host the Browns.
A win.
So the Jets will only go 0-4, and then they'll finally get their 1-5 win. We already know
Because
what?
I was going to say, because I thought when we went over this with Cleveland, they were pulling Deshaun Watson after week 4, and Shador came in. And if you remember, Shador won something like 3 out of 4 games and then dropped off the cliff as well. And I think we got to Dylan Gabriel or whatever, Gabriel
And
Dylan, whatever his name is, Dylan Gabriel, to like week 13 or so coming in.
we do have an update on the Browns quarterback situation. Hopefully by then, Steve will correct himself and refer to him as all pro Shador.
Yeah,
Uh,
gosh, keep doing that.
we know that the Jets will lose week 6 when they go to New England. We have them beating Miami in week 7 at home. Then the Jets are at home. They host the Raiders.
Win.
They're at the Chiefs.
Loss.
And we already have them losing when they host Buffalo. Then they go to the Chargers.
Loss.
All right. Now they have their bye week. After 12 games, they have won 3 as they head into their bye week at 3-9. In week 13 is their bye week. They come back and they host Denver.
Loss.
They go to Arizona.
Loss. They got a shot there, but going a
Yeah.
loss.
We know they're going to lose to New England in New York. They're going to host Minnesota for the second to last game of the year.
Loss.
And then we know they lose at Buffalo. They finish with 3 wins at 3-13 is where we would put the Jets.
Does Aaron Glenn survive the season before he gets fired, or does he get fired during the season? Because I believe, and I've said it all along, he would be gone after year 2 when they hired him, because they don't have anything, and the Jets are going to expect to win something, and they're just not going to do it.
And it's become more in vogue. They're not quite the NHL yet, but the NFL is getting better or worse about firing coaches mid-season. I guess the question there would be, and we're going to be discussing this, at what point do you change coaches, fire a coach, and then change before the draft because that you're the Jets and you want somebody at the helm who can draft the right or can help draft the right quarterback? That would be my best answer. At what point? Because look, unless the Jets win, I don't know, 7, Aaron Glenn does any. They're not going to. There's no chance he keeps his job, is there? Isn't that?
No, there's not. And even at 7, it would be an unbelievable season. I'd be calling for him to be one of the candidates to win, coach of the years, but it's not going to happen. And he doesn't have it. I mean, Geno Smith's suddenly going to turn around and become, Geno Smith has never been great. He's always had a high, pass completion percentage, but seriously, the Bills, they're not going anywhere.
Bills? You mean
the Jets. They're not going anywhere.
Yeah, the Bills not going anywhere. That would be a headline. And and you're right, it would be to the level of not only coach of the year, coach of the century after 26 years, trying to find 5 wins for the Jets. It gets tough because you have to go to the same candidates. They would Minnesota. There's that one that lingers because we don't know what shape Arizona. I mean, I can get them to 5.
And that's stretching it.
Yes, it is. It is stretching when you truly look at the schedule. So for the AFC East, the Bills 12-5, Patriots 8-9, the Jets 3-14, but not in last place because the Dolphins are 2-15. That's how we have it. Looking only at schedules and the state of the teams no later than August 5th. We've got them all. I can put it together and we can have a nice little list of who's going to the wild card and all that, solely so we can actually make our official predictions when we get back to about a month from now, the NFL season starting. Overall, Steve, as we've done this, I keep having the same reaction to some of these, and it's not the same games because obviously you do the same game twice when we're doing various schedules, right? There's a lot of good games on paper, the way they have this scheduled out. It feels like there's a bunch of games where we're going to go, this should be big. That's a good match. I mean, on paper, there's some stuff in that Dolphins schedule. What a gauntlet that thing is. But I mean good games, not just the Dolphins playing a bunch of winners. Games where you go, wow, It's seemingly compelling. God, I hope it lives up to it this season.
I'm with you. There have been some great games as you're going through these schedules.
Now, do we go to baseball and the trade deadline? We do have other sports. We have a ton more football as well. I'm going to do this, Steve. We're going to mix it up. Major League Baseball trade deadline Monday. We were live until 3. One of the things we kept saying, and then one of the things that was confirmed yesterday by people who gave out their winners and their losers and their grades was the Braves. What were the Braves doing? Not much. Well, yesterday, the Braves said, hey, we went after Logan Webb. We went after Jacob DeGrom. He said, I ain't leaving Texas. And we couldn't get him. That was the Braves' response to why they wound up as a loser or a C- or worse, which can translate to shut up, Steve. I mean, that there's no answer there. That's their answer. Hey, we tried to get Webb. We tried to get DeGrom. Couldn't. Sorry. That didn't make me feel any better about the Braves' position.
And my counter to that is what I've been saying all along. Why are you sitting and waiting for the deadline? You could have made these trades middle of July. I mean, they've been out there. We knew we were approaching it. You know, you and I have gone back and forth with the Scooble thing. And I'm like, look, put it out there now and just find the best offer you can get, give it time. And you're like, oh, well, why go now? Why not wait, see how the season plays? Well, the Braves sat back. They waited to see how things unfolded, and they figured on Monday they could figure something out. Well, DeGrom, they could have asked in July. And if he would have said, look, I'm not waiving my no trade, then why are they wasting their time on Monday? And Logan Webb, I don't know what went on there. But if I'm the Giants, I'm not moving Logan Webb either, unless you can, give me something really good. Nathan Evaldi, I heard for the Rangers also, has the no trade clause, and he said he wasn't going. Obviously, it wasn't to the Braves because the Braves didn't mention him. But the Rangers tried to say, "Look, we're throwing in the white flag," but Evaldi and DeGrom both said, "No, we're not going anywhere. We're going to stay here, and we're going to make you try to win this division."
That's interesting. Let's see. You went from throwing in the towel and waving the white flag to throwing in the white towel. Okay,
They,
that works.
they just the Rangers. I mean, like it or not, it's that their GM tried to go for the future, and their two best starting pitchers said, "No, we're not
We
going anywhere. You're stuck."
we went over, the post trade deadline American League West yesterday. I'm convinced it's basically whoever backs into it, and it's not going to matter, which means probably the American League West winner will win the World Series, just because it shouldn't happen. Speaking of that, just like with football, schedule comes out, every moron like us, the winners and the losers. Well, trade deadline's over. Barring injuries, call ups from the minor league that make some dramatic difference, we know what we got. And we have that, and injuries includes who isn't hurt yet, but also all these players. Is Judge playing as a Yankee this year? All these things. All the outlets did it, and they went back and they gave us, all right, now that we know the playing field, who are the teams that are the top, they went with 8 at ESPN, World Series winning contenders? Not getting there. Top contenders to win the World Series, obviously, by a bazillion to 1 margin, the Dodgers are number 1. You're an idiot to not say that. That's not to say the Dodgers will win. But right now, today, if you're saying how do they rank, despite losing yesterday in Scooble's first start, wasn't Scooble's fault. We'll get to that game later. The Dodgers. Okay. Who's second to win the World Series? Which can include the Dodgers don't get there. Second most likely to win the World Series. I know who number 2 is, and it's not the name I would have pulled out. So I'm trying to wait for Steve and objectively think second most. Oh, I know who I think. Brewers?
Uh,
Brewers?
I
Can the
want to go
Brewers?
the Brewers. Is probably where I would go. I want to put the Yankees there because if Judge comes back, there's just so much question, so I can't fully put the Yankees there. Um, and then, okay, I'm going to go totally off the chart. I'm going to go Tampa Bay
Okay.
2,
The
and I'll go the Brewers 3.
Okay. This is ESPN. They got their cadre of all their MLB reporters and specialists, and they all voted. The Yankees, amongst the top 8 favorites to win the World Series, now that the deadline is over, the Yankees are 7th. Despite that, according to ESPN, you can throw it away just on that. Despite that extraordinary pitching staff, they lead the majors in ERA. They say, unless and until Aaron Judge gets the green light to come back, this has the feel of a surprise team hoping to run into some good fortune. Is it that? I mean, Steve, is it that dire for the Yankees? Because you start. I mean, they're now down. They're 3.5 back of the Rays. They're going 5-5 every 10. They've got all these injuries. The Yankees 7th out of 8th. I mean, you put the Rays ahead of them. You probably think that's close.
Yeah, the Braves, I need some more starting pitch, and I'm not getting to the World Series if I'm
Oh,
throwing some of the guys out there that they're throwing. And you have to figure at a certain point, Bellinger's going to come back. So you have him back. If Stanton comes back, and some of these guys have to start hitting, don't they? I mean, they brought up George Lombard yesterday, lit a spark. Hey, hit his first home run,
mhm.
playing some shortstop. It was fun to see. Uh, and I can't throw the Yankees out because starting pitching
Oh,
is such a big factor for me. I wouldn't have them 7th. I would have them. I mean, shoot, I was considering them at 2nd and had to back them down a little bit. So I'd probably have them right in that 3rd. I
fourth.
had the Brewers. 4th,
Yeah.
I probably have the Phillies. 5th is probably where I'd have the Yankees.
I mean, 5th to 7th. If you probably would have told us back in June, Yankees 5th, I think we both would have said, huh? That they're 2nd. And then injuries hit and things. So the
Mhm.
Yankees, they came up 7th, according to ESPN. You went with the Tampa Bay Rays 2nd and the Brewers 3rd. Is that right? That's what
I
you went?
went Tampa Bay 2nd and the Brewers 3rd.
They have Tampa Bay 4th. ESPN does. Uh, they say they've got to reboot Freddie Peralta. They've got the Shane McClanahan issue. Is he going to come back healthy? They've got him 4th, top half. The Brewers, ESPN said, is the 3rd. So we haven't had 2nd from ESPN. The 3rd most likely team to win the World Series under all the same teams. Number one, same reasons. Number one ranked farm system. They couldn't get Scooble. Can they do something against the Dodgers? Dustin May, not exactly the addition everybody envisioned. Logan Henderson, etc. So they put the Brewers 3rd. Dodgers 1st, Brewers 3rd, Rays 4th. You mentioned them, you just didn't put them there. They say the Phillies are the 2nd most likely team to win the World Series behind the Dodgers. They would be able to get in there and stare down the Dodgers. Sanchez, Wheeler, Lazardo. They would come in probably as a wild card. They'd have to do a lot of work, but they say Phillies. If the Dodgers can't do it, the Phillies. I'm not opposed to that.
I'm not opposed to that in any way. My problem, because I have them 4th. It's not like I have them way down there. Problem I have is I want to see how this works out when you go and you moved your
Yeah.
Gold Glove second baseman to 3rd, your pretty good defensive third baseman to 1st, your first baseman, and Harper's done a really good job learning how to play first base. Back out to right field, and yes, he caught a ball his first opportunity out there in right field. Did look a little bit shaky though, and can he throw the ball? The other part I have is because Arise had a couple of hits last night, but they're batting him 4th. I kind of shake my head a little bit at that. I would like him because he's always putting the ball in play. I'd like to see him lead off with Schwarber 2nd and Harper 3rd. And I know that leaves Trey Turner, but maybe I have Trey Turner batting 4th because I want guys on base who are going to be there in front of Schwarber. Schwarber hitting leadoff, and okay, the only time we're guaranteed him to be up with nobody on base is the first step out of the game. I get that, but I would love to see a, a rise on base. He's hitting what 324, 325 again this year, right in front of those guys. So when they do hit that home run, it's not a solo blast, which is what he's known to be doing.
This leadoff hitter not being a speedster thing that's a modern phenomenon in baseball is still so weird to me. Um, I get it with a guy like Shohei who steals 50 bases. You always put Ricky Henderson and Vince Coleman and Tim Raines in the leadoff spot. And when you see guys like Nick Kurtz leading off and Schwarber, okay, I get it. You get the extra at bat and all that other, but it is
And
weird. And you have those opportunities, like you said, that don't
and
come up.
and I could give you Kurtz because his on base is 400
Yeah,
plus, so he can draw the walk. Schwarber in his best year, he's having a great year. What's he hitting? 251.
something
His
like that.
on base sits right around 320 at best. I know he hits a lot of home runs, but man, I'd love to have another runner on base when he goes deep because putting up a crooked number, not just a one on that scoreboard. And that's where, so if they get on base, I would understand it. The Nick Kurtz is excited. I don't agree with it because I still would prefer, a multi-run home run over that solo blast, but it's where it is. We got to make our best hitters get the most at bats, and I still think your best hitter hits third. I'm old school there though.
I agree. I agree. And maybe it is. It's just we haven't progressed. Schwarber, by the way, is hitting 243 this year. You brought up this 4 or 5 players changing. Half the team, half the
Mhm.
field is changing for the Phillies. Two things. One, defense remains so undervalued and underrated in Major League Baseball. I do not get it. It costs you games. Second of all, you bring up Harper and he looks a little reticent in the outfield. I didn't see that. Here's what I have seen. And you alluded to it. He got really good at first. Harper
Mhm.
became a good first baseman. So they're getting worse at least 2 positions in my book. And who knows what's going to happen with the other ones as they
Three,
flop.
second, third, and first. They've degressed in all three of those, and I'm just giving you Harper out in right field because you know, Garcia, who they signed before he got hurt, he is a pretty good right fielder, but was he hitting a buck 98, something like that? So I, I don't I don't think they've regressed. Harper knows how to play right field.
Garcia is hitting 195.
Oh,
So ESPN says Dodgers, Phillies, Brewers, Rays. There's their top 4. Then they have the Atlanta Braves,
mhm.
basically riding the back of Chris Sale and whatever else they can produce. Okay, talent. I'm not sure I wouldn't have put the next team ahead of the Braves, the Red Sox, your Red Sox. What the hell are they doing? They are hot. They are the hot team. They have the talent. I know they got to go a long way. I'm still not convinced they're not going to win the East. I don't mean to puff you up because but you're so self-loathing about your teams. If I can root for them, maybe we can balance it out and find the middle ground. I I, I don't know
And
about sixth.
And the way the Red Sox are playing right now, and not just because of their record, but they are playing great baseball. They've had great pitching all season long. And the thing nobody really talks about is over the last month, they've been bunting. They've been moving runners on. You get first and second, nobody out. I'm telling you, it doesn't matter who the batter is. Most likely, they're laying a bunt down. They're going to second and third. They're getting that timely hitting, which they didn't in the past, the base hits with runners in scoring position. And with that pressure that they're putting on the opponents, wow, suddenly there's now have power. We talked about for the first couple of months on how they were the worst power hitting team in all of baseball. They're now hitting home runs. I know the weather has warmed up, but when you put pressure on the defense and the pitchers and running and scoring position, it changes how pitchers pitch and what they do with you. And I think they're getting better pitches now. They're not chasing. And the Red Sox hitters the last month are going up to the plate with a purpose, where before that they didn't. They just went up there like so many teams do. And one of the things that the Washington Nationals did lead the baseball in runs scored, etc. But their hitters went up every time with a purpose. I am hunting my pitch. If they throw one on the corner and it's a strike, so be it. But until I get 2 strikes, I'm looking for my pitch in my zone so I can do damage. And they did a great job with it. So many teams don't have that kind of focus of, look, this is how we're approaching every single game. Red Sox are doing it now. They're playing great baseball. And I really think the sacrifice bunt, they've probably bunted more in the last 30 days than they did the last year and a half prior to that combined.
It felt to me, and I could be misremembering, Steve, like when I brought up, well, maybe this is all about they were right to fire their manager. That you, it seemed like you kind of went, I don't know if it's the manager, but wouldn't sacrifice bunting be right at the heart of? I mean, is this the guy that should be managing the Red Sox long
It,
term?
it's possible. He's been their AAA manager for quite some time. The reason I couldn't jump on it at that point, and I'm still hesitant, is okay, what do you do his first 30 games? Nothing happened there. Was it he had to learn the culture and convince them to start looking at what's best for the team? We have to move runners. We have to put pressure on the defense. And if that's the case, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But something changed, and what he did, or whoever did it, or if the team just finally bought in, it's been great because I've watched it. They're scoring runs late, and you add in that pitching. I think they only have to this point in the season one loss where they were leading going into the eighth inning. The A's will blow two games a week in which they're leading going into the eighth inning, and they have one loss the whole season, which shows how strong their pitching really has been. The difference is these guys are finally hitting, and it's selfless. And watch it. I watch almost all the Red Sox games as you do with the A's. And they're no longer going up for their stats. They're going up for what's best for the team. And if I got to lay that bunt down, I'm going to do it. If it's a runner on second, nobody out, I'm going to hit to right field. If I ground out to second base, so be it, because now I got a runner on third with one out. And let's go get that sack fly if we can't get a base hit. They never did that earlier prior to this winning streak. And that's the big part. Their approach at the plate has changed everything over the last 30 days.
And that's Chad Tracy, by the way, is the name of the manager of the Red Sox. So ESPN says in order your 8 World Series winning contenders: Dodgers, Phillies, Brewers, Rays, Braves, Red Sox sixth, Yankees seventh, the Cubs eighth. Boy, there's another team that made a bunch of moves. They're in the National League. They got more to go. That's a good list. I don't know if I'd rank them the same, but to me, it's the right. Are they even leaving any teams out? Are there anybody going? Oh, wait a minute, because there isn't for me that I can think of, anyways.
No, I don't think the one that's not on there, and they're not going to be on there. I still go to Seattle with their pitching. If they ever start hitting the ball, then Seattle could do a little damage. But at this point, I'm at the Mariners just are terrible. They're not going to turn it around. It is what it is. This is the hand they were dealt this year, and nothing's going to change the rest of the year.
We're going to take a break, but before then, we're going to give you some breaking news that's delicious. Just because the way things go full circle, we got a lot more baseball, we got a lot more NFL. We do have some other sports to update you on. The ongoing saga of Brandon Ayuk, and they just mad because they stupid, and all of his Insta posts, and he's going to go sign with the Washington Commanders. He bought a house, a $10 million house, right by where the Commanders train or whatever, practice or play. Meanwhile, the Niners, and they get Mike Evans from the Buccaneers. As Steve said from the beginning, he was never going to be a 17-game guy. They don't have Kittle back. Oh, Pearsall, he's out for the year, so they go and they get Debo. I'm sitting here screaming, why aren't the Niners, I'm a Niner fan, signing Stephon Diggs? Here's the full circle moment. Stephon Diggs has just signed with the Commanders. So Ayuk has no home. The Niners still need another receiver, and Stephon Diggs will be a Washington Commander. And like I think you made that exact joke. Maybe he can move into Brandon Ayuk's home. Uh, I mean,
Yes. Yeah. Look, talk about losing value immediately. I mean, he just bought the house, and now it's at, okay, I got to put it up for sale. I lose all the closing costs for the first time. I lose the real estate agent's costs for trying to sell it. Now I'm not going to get the same amount of money. Bad investment that turned bad really quick. Maybe throwing this out there for you, Rob. Maybe with the Niners deep need for wide receiver, and
It-
Brandon Ayuk with the Commanders off the table. Maybe, just maybe, they might be able to mend the fence a little bit and Ayuk can come back to the 49ers.
Prior to the Stephon Diggs signing, I know this was raised with Matt Barrows, who's been a beat writer for the Niners forever. Um, Good guy. I've met him. He's very well informed. He was asked that on Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area radio. He said, "Never say never, but no chance." That was before the Stephon
Mhm,
Diggs thing, and you start to go, the Niners need to do something. I
mhm.
wow, I don't think that would be good for anybody except Brandon Ayuk because my first thought before you sent me into despair over that idea is minus this really dark thing that you, I, and others have kind of identified as Brandon Ayuk going down a Britney Spears route. The thing I'm looking for now is what does Ayuk say next? Because now the Commanders have said basically, we don't want you, and he has no home. What does he do now? I mean, I hope it's just fun and social media. What's he say? Does he target another team? I don't know. That's the entertaining part. God, don't please let the Niners. Oh,
Uh, it,
I
it, it is the entertaining part. And if he had any common sense, he would have filed his reinstatement papers, months and months and months ago and forced the 49ers' hands. The only thing I can advise him right now is file those papers. Just make it happen. Either you're released and now you can go talk to somebody, or maybe the fence could be mended with the 49ers. And I'll tell you this, and again, why I can't be a GM. That fence would never be mended with me. I
no.
wouldn't care. It doesn't matter. That fence would not be mended if I was the Niners GM.
I will acknowledge though, as a Niner fan, I'll take myself out of that and go back to us professionally. The chaos of it would be great. The chaos of Ayuk going back to the Niners and all the reaction and everything else that would happen. That would be entertaining. So
Rob and Steve continue next, only on the radnetwork.com.
the first time Corey walked into my home, I came around the corner, extended my right hand to shake it, and said to him, "Wow, you're big." And that would be Corey from quickdumpsters.com. Quick is spelled wrong intentionally. Quick, Q-U-I-K dumpsters.com. That's quickdumpsters.com. Corey's yet another maggot launching his own locally owned and operated business, and boy, did I need him, and really we all do. Things pile up, you get frustrated, you keep saying, "We need to make a dump run." Pretty soon it's more than a dump run, and now you need to rent a truck or have one of those ugly upside down box cars parked in front of your house that you fill up yourself. Or you do like I did, you call Corey at quickdumpsters.com. In my case, my house had fallen into complete disarray as my late wife Christina had lost her 2-year battle with congestive heart failure, and amongst the many things left were gathering her things and finding what to donate, what had to just go in that pile of stuff where we were both going, why did we ever buy this? And it all could have been so overwhelming had Corey not just walked in, taken charge, and removed dozens of boxes of total junk, unusable dog kennels, desks that were falling apart, a worthless old smoker that couldn't be fixed, bag after bag of crap, and I can't remember what else. He was quick, spelled wrong, Q-U-I-K, quiet and clean. Well, he wasn't clean. I mean, he was. But I'm not commenting on his hygiene. I meant that his work was clean. He swept everything when he was done, and the house looked like he'd never even been there. Corey's the real deal, and I couldn't be more proud and happy to call him a brand new advertiser. His story's incredible, his dedication unmatched, and his motivation to succeed larger than he is, and that's saying something. Quotes are free. You don't even have to have them over to your house. Just send him some pics or videos, and you'll get your price, schedule your day and time, and watch someone else get that junk out of your house. Go to quickdumpsters.com. Quick, Q-U-I-K, dumpsters.com. Quick, Q-U-I-K, dumpsters.com. Longtime maggots will remember Greg from MAP, M-A-P, as in Maximum Athletic Performance, which guides you to better output through better ingredients, also known as nutrition. Greg has been on the Rad Show many times and will be again, as he simplifies nutrition and helps us all understand what actually works when it comes to fueling our bodies, almost all of which can be found at maptrition.com. Every product is formulated with clinical precision and backed by science and purpose, and maptrition.com has something for every fitness level, even those of us who barely have a fitness level. With nearly 20 years as a nutritionist and a specialization in sports nutrition, Greg works with athletes and everyday individuals to optimize performance, energy, and overall health through smarter fueling strategies, all of which starts at maptrition.com. At the very least, we should all be taking daily multivitamins, and Greg has his formulated for exactly what a man or woman's body needs. Protein is in, but maybe instead of getting yours from mac and cheese with extra protein, you get it from maptrition.com. And of course, all things workout, training, and exercise are available as well. From pre-workout to creatine and other muscle builders to recovery supplements and more, all at maptrition.com. From morning breakfast essentials to post-workout recovery and everything in between, maptrition.com's full range of supplements, proteins, and wellness products are built to power your journey from start to finish. Check out all the products and find what's right for you and order it shipped to you all at maptrition.com. That's maptrition.com.
At the Rob and Steve Sports Show, we only support responsible sports betting and gambling. With that said, according to Rob's favorite Chinese restaurant, your lucky numbers today are 12, 14, 17, 20, 28, and 36. Good luck. Email us your results at ras@theradnetwork.com.
Got some daytime baseball going on today. There'll be 4 games with the Rays and Rockies starting in about 30 minutes. Everybody else just getting underway. The Astros are hosting the Blue Jays. No score there in the second. Dodgers-Cubs 1-1 after the Scooble thing yesterday, and the Giants and Rangers are just getting underway. Lots more baseball, NFL to come as well. Victor Wembanyama, on the heels of him signing his 5-year, $252 million maximum rookie scale contract extension with the Spurs, which he became eligible for the day after the Spurs were eliminated in 5 games from the NFL or from the NBA Finals. Now has a new deal with Nike. That deal was ready to expire in October. However, once he re-signed with the Spurs, it made it easier for Nike to come along and say, hey, we're going to give you a signature sneaker. They've extended his contract. We don't know for how long. He also endorses Louis Vuitton, which he's done for a couple years. The difference here with the Nike thing is the Jordan treatment, the getting your own sneaker. Oh, you're going to be with the Spurs for at least 5 years, if not more, et cetera, et cetera. No surprise here, Steve. I don't know what is Wembanyama's appeal shelf life in terms of as an endorser. He's not Shaq, is he?
No, I think he may have the potential, and where he's different is being from France. He has more of the world appeal that takes a little time. You got to be the true superstar to go worldwide, but he falls into that, and he's so young. I mean, the sky's the limit on what he could do, and if he really does truly start to develop into one of the greatest of all times. My concern with him is he kind of turned himself into a villain in the NBA Finals, which I did not see coming, and I don't know if there's that full appeal if he becomes a villain as opposed to, the great guy, the nice guy. And Jordan, you could say some of us thought he was a villain, but Jordan performed on the field, and I don't think anybody really truly hated him. They respected what he did, even those who didn't care for him. He didn't have the villain personality. He had the competitor personality, and that's where I worry about Wembyana. And it's still young. But he did, if you remember in the finals, he started getting a lot of critics coming down on him and his actions and what he was saying. They're starting to call him a dirty player. He doesn't want to go down that road and get known as a dirty player, because that will stick with him.
It will. I think there's 2 things that come to my mind. Wembanyama has time to change that, obviously. He changed it quickly with the villain thing. But also with Jordan even, if you weren't an NBA fan, if you weren't paying that close of attention, you didn't think he was a bad guy. You just thought he was the greatest guy playing, and he certainly did extend to people. There were a lot of people that weren't basketball fans buying Jordan stuff. Obviously, Wembanyama, I know it's a French company, but he's the spokesperson for Louis Vuitton. He ain't going after NFL fans there. So he has the ability, if he can just be what we think he is, the face of the league, and not everything's negative, to try to turn that around. The other thing with Wembanyama comes from out of nowhere, Chris Bosh, who suffers from blood clots that forced an early end to his career. By the way, that is something Wembanyama has to deal with. His second season in the NBA was cut short due to blood clots, and so Chris Bosh, the retired Miami Heat star, is offering some advice and a warning for Wembanyama, most notably, quote, take your medicine, end quote, adding that Wembanyama and his handlers have to make sure he's staying on top of his regiment to make sure it doesn't happen again, because it only takes one more time, said Bosch. Quote, it happened one more time for me, and I couldn't play anymore. Wembanyama played 46 games in the 24-25 season after the Spurs announced his blood clots in his right shoulder, handled with blood thinning medication, which often precludes players from participating in contact sports like basketball, but he was cleared in July of 25. Bosch is cautioning Wembanyama, don't take your health and quick return for granted. In February, Bosch had a clotting emergency that nearly killed him. A little dark, but Jesus, I hope Wemby's listening.
I hope he is too. In fact, I'd be reaching out to Chris Bosch and I'd try to become one of his closer friends and just use him as an advisor to help me through it. Look, this is happening, is everything, not the doctor, but he's lived through it and he understands the NBA life to help me transition to ensure that I'm not putting my life or anything in danger going forward. So great for Chris Bosch. I'm really happy to hear him reach out like that. And now it's on Wemby on whether or not he wants to follow the advice.
I seem to recall asking you this year after year, and I seem to recall you saying it doesn't matter, but maybe I'm wrong, so I'll give you the chance here. Steve, does it matter that we have the first preseason college coaches football poll?
No, that has not changed. And yes, you have asked me, and it means nothing. I remember I can't remember last year, year before. Florida State was up there really high, and then they went on to what 3 games, I think it was that season, and just were terrible. So it doesn't mean anything until we get really close to the college football playoffs. Once teams have played like 9, 10 games, for me, that's when it starts meaning something because there's only so many slots and making the playoffs, and what do the teams need to do in order to ensure that they can get one of those slots.
So, and maybe I'm not the biggest college football fan. Maybe I'm misunderstanding. Even then, does the coaches poll matter? I thought it was all the whatever the college football committee people, whatever the hell their initials are.
The coaches polls matter for me before the season starts because it gives you a good gauge for power rankings and what to look into before you start getting the stats and the eyeball test of watching the different games, etc. Because you got to believe most every coach in college football knows the players, knows the teams, know what they're doing, knows who's going to be good. And there's always those teams that step up and really surprise someone. And you really see it more in college basketball. That team that was picked 11th in their conference, and they come out and they're playing in the championship title game and had a great season. But I do look at the coaches poll at the beginning of the season because that gives me a good feel of what to expect, say the first month or 3 weeks of the regular college football season.
So, so does the first one matter, or you don't care for another month right before the season starts?
I don't really care until like really the week before. And I have an idea, but things can go. I've heard that USC has the best defense they've had in years, and this team's going to be really good this year if you listen to this person. And we're not hitting on coaches, but then I hear SC's schedule is a gauntlet. And no matter how good they're and improved they are on defense, I mean, they have a lot of really tough games. So are they going to, lose 1 or 2 games max in order to give them the shot at making the college playoffs. And that's just an example of right now we're all speculating. I trust speculation from coaches more than I respect speculation from others.
So the way the coaches poll works and the way the speculation works is they give points if you're a first place vote and then second and third, and they come up with the rankings. Now, if you just go by first place votes, it wasn't even close. Ohio State, 38 first place votes in the first coaches poll, preseason poll of the top 25 rankings. Now, Indiana, who won the CFP last year, they come in overall at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sixth, but they got 14 first place votes. That was second. First place votes, Georgia, third. They're also third overall. Oregon is second overall with 6 first place votes. Notre Dame and Texas are the only other ones that got first place votes. You mentioned UFC. They're ranked 14th in the first college football poll. Whatever you learn from that, the whole thing's listed. You probably already have it memorized if you care that much.
And Notre Dame, I mean, what's their schedule like? They probably don't play too many tough games. So chances are they're going to be in the college football playoffs and good for them. But how good are they going to be? And Indiana, second most first place votes. I'm sorry, they're not winning back to back. And it just, I don't see it happening. They're last year, really the last couple of years, they've surprised some people. Even last year, we all knew they were going to be really good. But I don't think anybody expected them to win the championship until what, the semifinals of the college football playoffs. And then there's still a lot of people who said, look, they're still not going to win until they got into the finals.
Are they to even be taken seriously this year?
I think you have to. Kirk Cignetti has done so much with that program, and what he put them in the college playoffs 2 years ago. They won the championship last year. He's getting the recruits. He's got this system. He is the hot coach right now. I think they'll be really, really good. But I don't see them winning the national title back-to-back years.
Rob and Steve continue next, only on the radnetwork.com.
Longtime maggots will remember Greg from MAP, M-A-P, as in Maximum Athletic Performance, which guides you to better output through better ingredients, also known as nutrition. Greg has been on the Rad Show many times and will be again, as he simplifies nutrition and helps us all understand what actually works when it comes to fueling our bodies, almost all of which can be found at maptrition.com. Every product is formulated with clinical precision and backed by science and purpose, and maptrition.com has something for every fitness level, even those of us who barely have a fitness level. With nearly 20 years as a nutritionist and a specialization in sports nutrition, Greg works with athletes and everyday individuals to optimize performance, energy, and overall health through smarter fueling strategies, all of which starts at maptrition.com. At the very least, we should all be taking daily multivitamins, and Greg has his formulated for exactly what a man or woman's body needs. Protein is in, but maybe instead of getting yours from mac and cheese with extra protein, you get it from maptrition.com. And of course, all things workout, training, and exercise are available as well. From pre-workout to creatine and other muscle builders to recovery supplements and more, all at maptrition.com. From morning breakfast essentials to post-workout recovery and everything in between, maptrition.com's full range of supplements, proteins, and wellness products are built to power your journey from start to finish. Check out all the products and find what's right for you and order it shipped to you all at maptrition.com. That's maptrition.com. If you've never heard of microseal, let me tell you what it isn't. It is not a really small marine mammal. Get it? A micro seal? Oh, fine. Just ask AI. AI describes MicroSeal this way with a bunch of AI words. MicroSeal is a premium, eco-friendly, and biodegradable fabric protection spray that penetrates deep into fibers to provide permanent stain, soil, and sun fade resistance for rugs, furniture, and delicate fabrics. It uses nanotechno blah 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 and blue 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 blue. What AI is trying to say is that MicroSeal is non-toxic, non-allergenic, safe for pets and children, and although AI doesn't say this, it should, you need to contact longtime maggot Joel from AdvantageSteam.com right now to get him to apply MicroSeal for you. You can even make appointments online at AdvantageSteam.com. We've had MicroSeal for years at Williams Manor, and it treats a lot more than carpets. MicroSeal protects virtually all fibrous materials, including wool, cotton, silk, suede, leather, and synthetic fabrics. It protects upholstery, carpets, rugs, draperies, and clothing, including wedding dresses. And ladies, you're going to need what? 3 or 4 of those in your lifetime. And it protects against stains, moisture, and UV degradation without changing the texture. Also, if you're an interior designer, Joel has a special program just for you, and all you have to do is say the password, which is what? What? There's no password, I guess. Never mind. Whoever you are, contact Joel at AdvantageSteam.com. And if you're an interior designer, tell him, I guess. I don't know. That's AdvantageSteam.com, where you'll learn more about MicroSeal and everything else that Joel offers. At AdvantageSteam.com, that's AdvantageSteam.com, AdvantageSteam.com.
This is the Rob and Steve Sports Show. Call the show at 888-587-5355 or email the show at ras@theradnetwork.com.
Still no major action. Well, there's a little bit of movement in the day games. The Cubs are now up 3-1 over the Dodgers. That is in the bottom of the second. There's also the Astros 1-0 over the Blue Jays in the third. Giants, Rangers still scoreless. We'll keep an eye on all that. Speaking of the Dodgers and the Cubs spoiled Tariq Skubal's debut with the slumping Dodgers last night. 5-1 victory behind key RBI singles by Nico Horner and Pete Crow Armstrong, who we're going to talk about in a minute. He maybe has lost his mind. I'm not sure. Chicago did win for the third time in 4 games. Skubal permitted 2 runs and 4 hits over 6 innings in his first start. 85 pitches, 51 for strikes. Looked pretty good to me. Kyle Tucker homered for L.A., finished with 4 hits in its 5th consecutive loss. The Dodgers did. The Cubs are 5.5 back of the Brewers. Did we prematurely hand the Central to the Brewers yesterday, Steve? The Cubs major moves at the trade deadline, relatively speaking. They're only 5.5 back. Obviously, they've got the wild card locked up if they want it. Can the Cubs make a run here? I mean, they can. Will they?
It's possible. I like the 2 moves they had. They went out after pitching to strengthen their starting rotation. I mean, really, they had Matthew Boyd, who was throwing the ball really well. Imanaga's had a pretty decent season, but they didn't have a whole lot after that. You know, going into the season, they expected Kate Horton to be the one who had a great year last year to be their leader. They lost him before the season started for the entire year. This Cubs team, when they're right, they have the lineup to score a lot of runs, and they just need pretty decent pitching. And with this, they've lengthened that starting rotation, and they could make a run. All they need is for them to stay playing the way they've been playing, which is pretty good baseball. And at a certain point, every team goes through the slumps. What if the Brewers finally go on, say that slump like the Braves had, where the Giants went into Atlanta and swept all 3? If they go on a 2-week slump and they go like, 2-11, something like that, Cubs will be right there. And if the Cubs take over first place, I'm not sure they're going to hand it back to the Brewers.
By the way, if the Brewers go, whatever you said, 2-11, both of those are wins for Miz and nothing else. The Dodgers. Okay, so the Cubs, they go out last night. They beat the Dodgers and Skubal. It's just a game. But one of the themes today as I look through the scores is how long in Major League Baseball do we keep saying it's just a game? With the Dodgers, it's just a game. Okay, they've got a billion-game lead or whatever. But with the Cubs yesterday, and now they're winning today. I mean, it's only the top of the third. They got a ways to go. Cubs go out and sweep the Dodgers or something like that post-trade deadline. And get some. I mean, hello, they are keeping with the Dodgers. It's not the Dodgers are going to see in October. I'm not saying that, but ESPN putting the Cubs as the 8th most likely team to win the World Series. I wonder if that's low, just based solely on the moves they made and what they already had.
I think it's low. I'm not sure how far up I can really truly move them.
Yeah.
Maybe one slot, maybe two slots. But this is important for the Cubs, not so much for the Dodgers, but for the Cubs, just showing that they can play with this. And what we were discussing prior, the Brewers were coasting. Their hope was we can shut Mizorowski down. We can start throwing him 5 innings. We can start using a 6-man rotation, and we can start really limiting him. They go cold, Cubs go hot, and suddenly the Cubs are right on their tails. Are the Brewers really going to have that luxury of just saying, you know what, winning the division's not that important? We're willing to take our chances with a wild card series. I don't know I don't know what they do at that point. Your goal is to protect Mizorowski long term, but isn't your goal also to win? And we watched this with Steven Strasburg and the Nationals, many years ago. Luckily, the Nationals were still able to win that World Series in 2019, whatever it was. But if they had not done that, everyone would still be wondering. Nationals with Strasburg rookie year or second year, whatever it was, were a really, really good team, and they shut them down. They didn't throw them anymore, and it went away, and it was a lost opportunity.
So with the Cubs, they're playing. They're 3-1 now over the Dodgers. The starters are still in top of the third. Eric Lauer is throwing for LA, and Imanaga for the Cubs, as they now are in the top of the third. And Otani did hit a home run, by the way. That's where their one run came from today.
Yeah. Now on the Dodgers, because we were talking the Dodgers also, Dalton Rushing is probably out for the season as far as catching goes. There's talk that he may be back as far as a hitter, use him as a pinch hitter off the bench. But until Will Smith comes back, and there's no timetable. I had heard, a few weeks back it was going to be the beginning of August. Latest I've heard is he will be back, but they're not sure when. It's tough because that catcher has to handle the entire rotation. And if suddenly that starting rotation's ERA goes up by 1, the Dodgers are going to lose a few more games, and they're not in danger. I'm not saying that, but this team you're looking at with no catching at all is a different team, even from the pitching standpoint of what we have seen and what we've known. Now, Blake Snell had a rehab last night. I believe he's going to make his next appearance in the major league. So Blake Snell is going to be back within a week. Glass now was through a rehab yesterday. They expect him to be back in 2 weeks, and that's where that rotation can really take over. But right now, I'm concerned with this Dodgers hitting. Is what are they going to do? Freddie Freeman's still having just an unbelievable year, but Kyle Tucker's killing them. Mookie Betts is killing them. They have a lot of players that just are not consistently hitting. And just like the Yankees, are you able to get by with Shohei and Freeman as your two guys? Even Pages is not hitting like he was hitting early on in the season. Still has a boatload of RBIs, but it's not the same lineup either.
I mentioned center fielder Pete Crow Armstrong for the Cubs, who's a stud. And I know, Steve, you just ever so much love when our professional athletes dive deeply, a la Kyrie Irving, into these conspiracy theories. And Kyrie's was the Earth's flat. By the way, I never heard this one. One of your sluggers, Carl Everett from the Red Sox, insists that the dinosaurs were fake. The fossils are fake. I didn't know that. They never existed.
My father believed that his entire life.
Really?
And it just shook my head every time he would get into that. It's like, yeah, okay. Somebody decided to go bury all these bones all across the earth, deep into the ground, just for a hobby. I don't think so.
Okay. This is another one I have not heard before. Pete Crow Armstrong has become the latest sports figure to entertain a bizarre conspiracy theory, saying Babe Ruth never existed. Have you heard this? The Crow Armstrong said, quote, "I heard a pitcher with the Mariners, Taylor Saucedo, I think it was. He was doing a podcast, and he went down the rabbit hole on how Babe Ruth never existed. And I was like, wow. End quote from Pete Crow Armstrong. Like Seattle's Taylor Saucedo, Crow Armstrong doesn't think the visual evidence of Babe Ruth's existence is very compelling. He went on to say, we always talk about how the game's evolving and people might as well have been underhanding the ball to that guy, Babe Ruth. And he's regarded still as one of the best players ever. Well, you might as well dive further into it and be like, well, maybe he just never existed. I've never heard this one, but Pete Crow Armstrong thinks Babe Ruth is completely made up. It was a great story. He was a neglected child, turned into one of the most famous figures of the 20th century. It's 1934, Japan, right? They're getting ready to be part of World War II. Even there, Babe Ruth is mobbed by thousands. It's a great story. It's not real. The last surviving teammate of Babe Ruth's passed away in 2009 at the age of 100. So we don't even have anybody to go to other than endless footage and pictures. All right.
That is crazy. So they're saying all these box scores, newspapers are fake. And I'm not even getting into the video evidence because he's saying that video evidence was all made up. Then why are there also the stories of the negatives of Babe Ruth with his catching a lot of sexual diseases, was always out, drinking with the women? Really, you're going to go that detailed and deep to slander him as well when you're trying to make this American hero who is the greatest player to ever play? Wow, that's up there with one of the top conspiracy theories I've heard.
Back to baseball. Steve's Boston Red Sox extended their winning streak to 6 games with a monster victory over the White Sox, 14-2 last night. And Patrick Sandoval earned his first major league win in more than 2 years since May 7th of 24, when he pitched for the Angels before undergoing Tommy John surgery. He struck out 5, allowed 2 runs, 6 hits, 4 walks over 5+ innings. Now, back to the Red Sox, they're looking better and better in that wild card. Right now, they are right behind the Yankees in the wild card. The Red Sox are +5. They're only 5.5 back of the Rays in the East. They're the hottest team, clearly, in all of baseball. And at some point, Steve, we're giving the Red Sox a lot of credit. They sure seem like they're the team. They're in it for the East. They didn't beat nobody. You can't keep making fun of the White Sox. They beat the first place team. It's just one game, but they really beat them.
They did, and every batter in that lineup outside of their catcher, which is why they went after Rushman, got a hit in the game. 5 of the guys, 6 of the guys, 7 of the guys had 2 hits. They're hitting the ball. They hung a 6 spot in the first inning, took all the pressure off. They're playing great baseball. They just are. Everything is in sync. But I have a hard time, forgetting about the first 70, 75 games of the season. It was that ugly that early. They're going right now. And I talk about how when you have a big winning streak, normally you will go into a big losing streak. That has not happened. And that's more unusual than usual. They continue to get the job done. Patrick Sandoval, as you said, first win since 2024. Man, the stars are aligning for the Red Sox right now.
Red Sox are on a 6-game winning streak, 8 of their last 10. White Sox still in first place by 3 games over the Hawardians. This is the middle game of the series today, where the good pitching matchup. White Sox are throwing Sean Burke against Sonny Gray.
Yeah, and Sean Burke has been a really good pitcher for the White Sox so far. His record's sitting at 5-5, but his whip's been 1.17. He's 1-1 in his last 3 outings, but his ERA is 1 and his whip is 0.70. He's been getting the job done. Sonny Gray, on the other hand, great record, 13-2, 2.95 ERA, 1.17 whip. But he has not been the same pitcher. He got hurt right before the All-Star break type of thing. And you look at him and he's 2-1 in his last 3, but his ERA is 5 and his whip is over 1.5. Could also be the Red Sox are winning, putting up a lot of runs. So he's not that concerned about how he had to be early in the season that, look, we're not scoring more than 2 runs. So I have to keep the opponents off base. Hopefully Sonny Gray can move it to 14-2. It'd be great to see.
So the Yankees, they did go out and they won, and they are still 3.5 games behind the Rays. You mentioned George Lombard Jr., who we talked about right away. They called up yesterday, made quite the first impression, became the fourth youngest New York Yankees infielder to homer in a game at 20 years of age. 392-foot solo shot to center. Came after Lombard had already smoothly turned a pair of double plays. Remember, they said yesterday, the Yankees, they already said he's a great defenseman. We're not worried about his defense. He got promoted to AAA, Lombard did. He batted .268, 6 homers, 21 RBI in 56 games. Aaron Boone, an idiot who's managing the team, said, quote, he, talking about Lombard Jr., he's checking a lot of boxes. He's put together an outstanding year, and it's continued to get better throughout the year. Another addition made his Yankees debut yesterday. This is literally how ESPN wrote it. They wrote, former New York Giants outfielder, San Francisco Giants is what they meant, outfielder Eliot Ramos batted fourth in Tuesday night's game. And he is expected to see the bulk of his time in left field, where he started 64 games, didn't make any errors in 111 chances. So the Yankees are still at home. They're still 3.5 back of the Rays. They will face the Cardinals again with Andre Palante going against Will Warren. By the way, the game is on Prime if you have Amazon tonight at 4:00.
Yeah, and the Yankees, nice win, 2-0. Didn't put a ton of runs up on the board, but it was good enough. Ryan Weathers goes out 6 innings, 4 hit, a shutout ball. Another good outing for the Yankees starter. Tonight, we're looking at Palante, who's had a really good year for the Cardinals, which is part of their resurgence and surprise in the season. He's sitting at 11-6, ERA of 3.7. His whip is 1.22. Last 3 outings, 1-0, ERA of 2.5, whip just barely over 1. He's had an outstanding season. Will Warren, though, surprisingly, has been really good for the Yankees. They weren't expecting him to be that much of a contributor to this rotation with all they have, but he's at 8-5, ERA a little over 4. In his last 3, he's 1-1. ERA sitting at 4.5, but his whip's 1.16. He has thrown well for them. Will they score enough runs? But Palante has been one of those pitching surprises like Foster Griffin that going into the year, you didn't put that much on him, also playing for what you considered a bad team. And he's put together a really solid season. So the Yankees just need to score. Their pitching has not been the problem. As you said earlier in the show, they're the best ERA in all of baseball. So it's just whether or not they can hit.
Neither one of us really believes in the Twins. They turned it on, trade deadline, etc. Um, if they would have won yesterday, they'd be tied for the wild card in the American League. Instead, they're a game back. They're right there. They're a game back. This is where I go to, Steve. When it's only August, but it's August. When in Major League Baseball does a game become more than a game? If you're the Twins and you're in the thick of it and you're trying to get the wild card or even make a run at the Howardians and the White Sox, can you go out and lose to the Royals? It's only a game. I get it. Bobby Witt Jr. comes back. What do you have? Back spasms or whatever. He went 3 for 5, a 2-run double. Look, Bobby Witt Jr. is one of the best in the game. We knew that was coming. But the Royals beat the Twins 8-2. Is it too much of a big deal to say, see, the Twins? You can't lose to or come on, it's just a game. Which is it?
It's a divisional game. You tend to play those a little tighter than you do with the other ones. We're still early August. And I think when the games really come down to you can't lose this game is once we hit September. Now you're in your last 25, 28 games. You can't be giving these kind of things up. Plus, at that point, most of the teams that are out of it, and the Royals will be there. They go to the expanded rosters. At that point, they just look, I'm going to play these kids. I want to get a feel for who might be part of our organization moving forward. And we want to get some, stats in the books on them and see what they can do well, what their weaknesses are. And that's where September's the big key. And the Twins shocked me. I thought they'd be sellers. They were buyers. They're really making a run at this wild card. Good for them. Dean Kremer's going for them tonight. He's one of those pitchers that a lot of talent just hasn't lived up to it. He's 1-4 on the year, ERA of 6.5. This will be his first start in like months. So it's going to be curious to see how he does. Noah Cameron, this kid's been pretty decent for KC, even though his record's 5-8. But he's one of their young arms. It's kind of like the A's. They don't have a whole lot. He's not going to win that much, but he's learning at that major league level. And let's see what he can do. And Bobby Witt being back in that lineup is huge in front of Caglianone. And Salvador Perez, it's a great career, but he has really run out of gas in his career. And I'm starting to think this will be his last season.
And while the games, absolutely, you can't argue with the logic. They feel like they mean more in September. There's a different feel to them. We do always say every game counts the same. Every game in April counts the same as they do now, and then a month later. So I assume I'm going to get the same answer when it comes to the Howardians, who are 3 games back of the White Sox, and they're sitting there with some type of grip as best they can on that third AL wild card position right now, and they go out and they lose to the Mets 6-2. They stranded, Cleveland did 11. They finished 2 for 13 with runners in scoring position. You just can't do that if you want to get to the playoffs, but what do I know? Tanner Bibby has moved up his start by a day. Well, he didn't. The team did. Against Christian Scott for the Mets.
Yeah, Christian Scott's had a nice season filling in there. He's 3-3, ERA of 3 for the Mets. Over his last 3, he's 1-2 just because the Mets can't win. But his ERA is 2.4. His WHIP is just over 1. Tanner Bybee, big disappointment, 4-11. He was supposed to be their number 2 pitcher going into the season behind Gavin Williams. Just hasn't been able to get it done. His ERA is pretty decent, 3.8, 3.3 over the last 3 outings, and his WHIP has been there. He doesn't get the run support, doesn't have it. The Mets traded their entire bullpen away. The Guardians need to go into this game and be pitch specific, run the pitch count up. Even if Christian Scott has a good game, you got to get him out by the 5th inning, even if you're down by a run or 2, and then just let the Mets bullpen come in because they're not going to be able to get anybody out. And that's where you make your run in that second half. The Mets are done. They've been done all season long, but now, they trade away like 9 of their 26 players on their team, something like that, in their fire sale. And they should. Yeah, they're not going anywhere. Why have the payroll? They did what they needed to do. I was disappointed because they went more quantity versus quality for what they got. And they did get the shortstop from the Cubs, which was great. But the Guardians cannot afford to lose again tonight against this Mets team.
You mentioned the Mariners earlier. Mariners are 3.5 games back in the West. If the West is going to pull out another wild card team, I suppose. I mean, it's still possible because everybody's under 500. But the Mariners, my God, they go out last night. They're not even the story to me about last night. They lost 8-0 to the Tigers, the Tarek Skubal-Liss Tigers, who have won 4 straight. And they are one of several teams chasing the final AL wild card. They have moved, the Tigers have, without Skubal, to a game and a half of Cleveland for the wild card spot. Seattle's lost 9 of 13. They're 3.5 back of the Astros in the West. The Tigers have scored at least 8 runs in 6 games, since the last time Skubal pitched. They are tied for the longest such streak. That ties them for the longest such streak in franchise history. Riley Green homered in the 5th against Emerson Hancock, who is still a Mariner, who gave up 4 runs in 6 innings. I'm starting to root. Could you imagine? I don't see how it happens, but could you imagine the Tigers without Skubal and Mize getting to the playoffs as a wild card team?
Wouldn't it be wonderful to see that happen? And last night's game, it was one of the games I did watch on one of my screens. Mariners were never in this game. They didn't even put up an offensive fight in any way. Melton was one of the reasons that the Tigers were feeling confident with this year, even moving on from Skubal, because Melton has stepped up. He is a pleasant surprise. Last night went to 7-1 on the season. His ERA is 1.58. He's throwing the ball great. And the big surprise for me is this Tigers lineup is scoring runs. What do you say? 8 runs or more in their last 3
Excellent.
wins. We knew that Dinglers had an unbelievable season. He stepped in as their catcher this year. Riley Green became a star last year. He's holding it over this year, just isn't hitting with quite as much power, but he's getting on base and hitting more for a higher average. Glaber Torres is doing all right. I'm surprised they didn't move him out of there. The big clunker in that lineup still continues to be Torkelson at first base. He was their number one pick like many years ago. Their heir apparent was going to be a star, and he's had like 1 year out of 5 that's been any good. He's just a 220 hitter with, 15 to 20 homer, and this guy just kills them day in and day out. But Mariners, they got to figure it out. There's no way around this. Wu is going for him today. He's been outstanding at home. Everything he has done has been at home. He's been terrible. I think he's 1-8 or something crazy on the road. I think he's 6-0 at home. So he's a different pitcher in Seattle. And this is another one. Seattle, you can't lose to the Tigers again. You have to get this win, and Wu at home hopefully can get it done.
So that dopey American League West, it feels like we're going to have a different take on it every day. Mariners 3.5 back. Astros are in the lead, and the Rangers are 2.5 back. Cody Bradford is going to make his first start for the Rangers today since the end of the 24 season in the left-hander's comeback from elbow surgery. This was announced right after the Rangers won 5-4 over the Giants last night. Bradford will start the finale today. Instead of making another rehab start, he was part of the Rangers' only World Series title as a rookie in 23 when he was 1-0 with a 1.17 ERA and relief appearances during the playoffs. Pretty mediocre in the regular season. I don't know if this matters at all, but hey, Cody Bradford's back for the Rangers.
Yeah, it's good. Let's see what he can do. He has a pretty good arm going up against the Giants. The Giants don't have a whole lot to play for. Hunt's going to be in the rotation, and he should be for the rest of the year. Let's go get a good taste of how this kid's going to be. So far, he has struggled. He's 2-2 with a 6.6 ERA, 1-2 in his last 3 with an ERA over 7.7. So he has struggled, but Giants got nothing to play for. Let the kids play. Let's see what they do. I heard Bryce Eldridge is leading off in today's game. I don't have it on. I haven't looked at anything there. And just start playing for next year. Evaluate your talent and try to improve moving forward. They had a really good trade deadline, which should help them out, hopefully, moving forward. But as we keep saying, those 3 contracts are just killing this team.
Eldridge zone 2, by the way, as the Rangers are up 1-0 in the bottom of the 3rd over the Giants. An adjacent game of note, the Astros are up 3-0 middle of the 5th over the Blue Jays. Jumping over to the National League, Luis Arias had 2 hits, 2 RBI in his Philadelphia debut. Phillies beat the Nationals 5-0. The Nationals placed one of your buddies, James Wood, all-star outfielder, on the 10-day IL, the old oblique. If you're not a pitcher with bone bodies, then you've got an oblique problem. MRI shows a mild strain. They're hoping it's no big deal. Who cares? You're the Nationals. Shut this guy down. 23 years old, batting .265, 30 homers, 73 RBIs. I don't mean shut him down, but be careful. There's no reason to force him to play.
Yeah, and they just heard me say, hey, take a flyer on James Wood for MVP. If Shohei is going to be injured and miss some significant time, he's got a shot at 25-1. And right after I said that, injury, let's go on the IL and let's shut him down, moving forward. And the Nationals, I love watching them play, but they've traded away their team. They've given up on the season. They got Jake Irvin going tonight, 2-5, ERA over 5.6. Not a whole lot to write home there. Big question, though, is Andrew Painter. He was the Phillies' number 1 pitching prospect, came into the season, started it off 1-8. ERA was north of 7. I think it was almost 8. His last outing, though, he threw a bit better. And the Phillies, because they didn't go out and address that starting pitching spot, which is what we thought they would, They need either him, Aaron Nola, and or Andrew Painter to step up if they want to make any run at the Braves. I don't think they will make that run at the Braves. And then they just have to hope this experiment with moving everybody out of position. Let's just play our whole team in the wrong positions of where they've played their entire careers. Hopefully it'll work. We'll see what happens there. And Arise does enough offensively to let them score enough runs to win some games.
We did talk earlier about whether or not the Brewers have been handed the National League Central maybe a little bit early. Cubs look good. They're only 5.5 back. The Pirates are 14 games back. They ain't winning the Central. What about that wild card spot that some of us are rooting for them to get? They're 3.5 back, and they got to go through the Padres and the Marlins just to get to the Diamondbacks, who have the third spot. The Brewers beat the Pirates 4-2 last night. Today, Kyle Harrison for the Brewers. Paul Skeens for the Pirates.
Well, we got to see how Harrison's going to do coming back from injury. This will be his first start in like a month, but he's 8-2 ERA of 3. Harrison was really good at the top of that rotation with the Brewers to this point, going up against Paul Skeens, who he hasn't been the same. Paul Skeens all season long. He's 9-9. His ERA is almost 4. In his last 3 outings, Skeens is 1-1, ERA of over 6, and a WHIP of 1.71. That's not getting it done. If the Pirates are going to make a run for this wild card, they need Skeens to return to that Cy Young form. But the Brewers got their hands full. I mean, the Pirates lost last night, but I think the Brewers have lost 6 of 8 matches against the Pirates so far this season. So the Pirates have really had their number, and now they got Paul Skeens going, and it's going to be interesting to see if Harrison's got rust. What's his pitch count? Is he going to get 60 pitches, or are they going to push him to 80? That's another thing to consider when looking at the Brewers, and this is how long is Harrison really going to be able to go?
One more before we jump back to the NFL. We talked after the trade deadline when the Padres went out and said, we're going for it. What do the Padres do to go for it? And you said, it's Padres Diamondbacks. Nobody's beating the Dodgers. So get out there and beat the Diamondbacks and get that third spot. And one of the things we talked about just yesterday was, can the Padres, it's not like they're missing the talent. They just need the talent to show up on offense and perform. Hey, look at that. Manny Machado had 3 hits and 4 RBI last night. Randy Vasquez threw 6 scoreless innings. The Padres jumped out to an early lead. They beat the Diamondbacks 9-4. Diamondbacks have a game lead over the Padres, both obviously in the National League West, but in the wild card race, Diamondbacks are in, but they're only a game ahead of the Padres, who are on the outside looking in. Mitch Bratt is going against Casey Mize. The newly acquired Casey Mize is pitching for the Padres today.
Yeah, and the Padres were all over Eduardo Rodriguez. He'd been their best pitcher all season long. They hung 6 runs on him, like in the first 2 innings. It was a great performance, as you said. Manny Machado, 3 hits to raise his average to 213. Jackson Merrill, 3 hits to raise his average to 241. Even Xander Bogaerts, 2 for 3 in the night to raise his average to 225. If they can start getting some hits and scoring some runs, which we know they can. These are veterans who have performed throughout their entire career, and they've all gone in a slump the first half of the season. The Padres will score their runs, and now adding Casey Mize and Robbie Ray to that rotation, that's only going to help them out. I mean, Mize has been outstanding this year. His ERA is 2.7. His WHIP is sitting right at 1. And Mitch Bratt, a lefty for Arizona, he's 0-1 so far, 5.4 ERA, WHIP at about 1.8. His last 3 is 0-1, ERA a little over 5, and his WHIP still sitting at 1.8. This is the opportunity, Padres. Show up tonight. You got a distinct pitching advantage. Randy Vasquez, who you'd bumped out of the rotation for the last month because he started to really struggle, stepped up big last night. 6 innings, no runs to this D-backs team, only 2 hits. Add him in there as a 4th pitcher. If he can stay back like last night and the way he was at the beginning of the season, that allows them to go, a good 4 deep in the rotation. And if they could keep hitting, the Padres could be that dangerous team.
Did mention earlier that the Yankees hosting the Cardinals at 4 o'clock West Coast time is on Prime Video. If you have Amazon Prime, that Skeens matchup against the Brewers will be on ESPN at 4:30 West Coast time as well.
Rob and Steve continue next, only on the radnetwork.com.
The first time Corey walked into my home, I came around the corner, extended my right hand to shake it, and said to him, "Wow, you're big." And that would be Corey from QuickDumpsters.com. Quick is spelled wrong intentionally. Quick, QUIK, in charge and removed dozens of boxes of total junk, unusable dog kennels, desks that were falling apart, a worthless old smoker that couldn't be fixed, bag after bag of crap, and I can't remember what else. He was quick, spelled wrong, QUIK, quiet and clean. Well, he wasn't clean. I mean, he was. But I'm not commenting on his hygiene. I meant that his work was clean. He swept everything when he was done, and the house looked like he'd never even been there. Corey's the real deal, and I couldn't be more proud and happy to call him a brand new advertiser. His story's incredible, his dedication unmatched, and his motivation to succeed larger than he is, and that's saying something. Quotes are free. You don't even have to have them over to your house. Just send him some pics or videos, and you'll get your price, schedule your day and time, and watch someone else get that junk out of your house. Go to QuickDumpsters.com. Quick, QUIK, Dumpsters.com. Quick, QUIK, Dumpsters.com. Longtime maggots will remember Greg from MAP, M-A-P, as in Maximum Athletic Performance, which guides you to better output through better ingredients, also known as nutrition. Greg has been on the Rad Show many times and will be again, as he simplifies nutrition and helps us all understand what actually works when it comes to fueling our bodies, almost all of which can be found at maptrition.com. Every product is formulated with clinical precision and backed by science and purpose, and maptrition.com has something for every fitness level, even those of us who barely have a fitness level. With nearly 20 years as a nutritionist and a specialization in sports nutrition, Greg works with athletes and everyday individuals to optimize performance, energy, and overall health through smarter fueling strategies, all of which starts at maptrition.com. At the very least, we should all be taking daily multivitamins, and Greg has his formulated for exactly what a man or woman's body needs. Protein is in, but maybe instead of getting yours from mac and cheese with extra protein, you get it from maptrition.com. And of course, all things workout, training, and exercise are available as well. From pre-workout to creatine and other muscle builders to recovery supplements and more, all at maptrition.com. From morning breakfast essentials to post-workout recovery and everything in between, maptrition.com's full range of supplements, proteins, and wellness products are built to power your journey from start to finish. Check out all the products and find what's right for you and order it shipped to you all at maptrition.com. That's maptrition.com.
Steve has been running sports books for decades, and Rob spent decades running radio so far into the ground he just created his own network. This is the Rob and Steve Sports Show on the Rad Network.
4 Major League Baseball games going on right now. Cubs up 3-1 over the Dodgers in the bottom of the fourth. Rangers now 4-0 over the Giants in the fourth. Rays over the Rockies 2-0 in the second. I mentioned that Astros game. Astros up 3-0 over the Blue Jays, and Hunter Brown for the Astros. He had a no-hitter through 5, just gave up a hit, so there's a non-story. But the Astros are still up 3-0. How about just a moment here to reflect on 2 days ago? We missed it. We were off. It was Monday. It was the trade deadline. Sorry, I just missed it because we were focused on the trade deadline. Former Buffalo Bills and Kansas City Chiefs head coach Marv Levy is now the only known ever major NFL head coach to reach 100 years old. Celebrated his 101st birthday on Monday. He had reached it. You got to get to that one to where they really give you credit. Either way, head coach for 17 seasons, led the Bills to those 4 straight losing. Super Bowls. He's in the Hall of Fame. He went in 2001. And he was just, was it this last weekend or the weekend before? He's out. He's doing shows. He's signing for fans. Joe Theismann did a charity function with him, posted a picture. Yeah, he looks 101, but he looks a damn good 100. And I always liked Marv Levy. It sucks. He's got the albatross of the 4 losses, but I always respected him and thought he was a good coach.
I did too. And talk about talent on that team to never win the Super Bowl with Thurman Thompson and Reed and Jim Kelly, etc. That was a really good Bills team. I mean, just to get to 4 straight Super Bowls. I mean, think about that accomplishment.
Things are getting a little chippy. It's early, it's hot, but there were some issues on the field yesterday. Tennessee Titans defensive tackle Jeffrey Simmons, who got into a very famous argument during training camp last year with Cam Ward, found himself in a scuffle yesterday that resulted in his ejection. Simmons just signed a 3-year, $105 million contract extension with Tennessee in June. Made him for a cup of coffee, the richest defensive tackle in NFL history till Jalen Carter signed his deal. Simmons threw a punch after getting his helmet ripped off during an 11-on-11 period of practice. He was going after Titans tackle J.C. Latham. Head coach Robert Saleh said, "It's our policy. You throw a punch, you're ejected in a game. Same thing in a practice." Rather than going into the locker room, he went to the other field, got his work in, and he paused practice for a moment after the scrum to talk to the team. Just stuff, right? Boys being boys. It's summer. I don't see a big deal here. It makes the news, but am I missing something?
I don't think it's anything. I want a little feistiness out there. Let's look. We're practicing. This is go time. We got to get in shape and play. I feel a little bit for that rookie if he had landed the punch, but well, not a rookie, but the offensive tackle if he had landed it. But no, I want a little feistiness. I don't want it to be all nice and polite in these
Do,
practices. That means you're not going 100%.
do you extend that to New York Giants quarterback Jackson Dart, who got in trouble yesterday after rushing for a touchdown during a red zone period at training camp? He tossed the ball at the helmet of the closest defender, who happened to be cornerback Greg Newsome. The ball hit him in the helmet before it ricocheted to the ground, and several defensive players then jumped in and had words with Dart. If those of you don't know, it's offense playing defense, same team, etc., but they're playing. They're playing to win. The defense was not amused by Jackson Dart, and neither was head coach John Harbaugh, who said that's a 15-yard penalty for taunting. So in practice, we backed up the extra point. We had him do it again. The kicker made the kick. Who cares? Harbaugh, who's usually pretty quiet, was asked, "Did you say anything?" He said, quote, "Dart understands we don't want for it to the game-winning extra point to be a 50-yard extra point. Do you think I have to say anything? It's pretty clear cut," end quote, which sounds to me like he didn't say anything and Dart should get it. Afterwards, there was media availability for other players who brushed off the incident as same thing. They're competing. Big deal. Big deal or a little bit bigger because it's Jackson Dart?
I think this is a little bit bigger on a couple of different things. I still think Harbaugh may have said he didn't say anything. I believe Harbaugh sat them down and said, "Look, you can't be doing this." And where it's different is you should never be tossing the ball into the closest defender as you're scoring a touchdown into their helmet if it's the other team. This is your teammates. You can't, you're a one unit out there. You're all there to win together. Last thing you need is for the defense to hate the quarterback. You don't want that. And that's why I believe Harbaugh said something. Look, man, they're your teammates too. Great for you. Great play. You ran it, but you can't be showing up our defense either.
Well, and also there is this lingering hangover with Jackson Dart and the introducing the Trump thing, and did that divide Jackson Dart doesn't need anything right now other than to perform, and Harbaugh doesn't need this crap either. So I'm glad to hear you say it. I elevated it a little bit because it's Jackson Dart. By the way, just to take a quick break from the NFL, not really breaking news, but a breaking rumor from the NBA. ESPN's NBA Today is reporting that the Sacramento Kings are in discussions with Russell Westbrook about an open roster spot. Nothing's going to really help the Kings. Any reaction to that?
Yeah, it surprised me a little bit. I mean, not that the Kings are looking at Russell Westbrook. They got to do something there. I thought Westbrook was going to be going to the Miami Heat. I thought that was kind of a done deal, and he'd go help out, that guard position. But coming back to And if I'm Westbrook, let's see, I'd be willing to play for a little less money to play for Miami with Giannis, etc., than coming back to Sacramento, who's the worst team in the NBA. But if he wants his points, he's working on a Hall of Fame career, then it makes a little more sense.
Back to the NFL. It was a hopeful day yesterday in Atlanta, where running back Bijan Robinson agreed to his 3-year extension worth as much as $75 million. We have what Steve wanted yesterday, the breakdown of that, which I'll get to in a moment. But we do have to then say it went from good news to bad news for the Falcons after first-round draft pick Jalen Walker, the 22-year-old edge rusher, tore his ACL. He's having an MRI to confirm the injury, but pretty much not good. He could not put any weight on his left leg as he was helped off the cart and taken to the locker room soon after Kevin Stefanski ended practice. A little bit of a kick to the gut to the Falcons, who are acting like they're trying to do something in the worst division in the NFL. They didn't need this.
No, they did not. And keep in mind, their edge rusher last year, the rookie, he's had various off the field issues this last season, and it's questionable whether or not he's really going to even be able to play. So he's got some court hearings or whatever going on with that. Bad news for the Falcons. Not a surprise. Great division, though, in the sense that anyone can win it. They're all going to be bad. So it doesn't do anything to devastate them.
Now, we did report yesterday the Falcons and running back Bijan Robinson worked out a new deal, keep him under contract in Atlanta for 5 years. The questions were, but what are the details? We've got them. They always leak out. And Steve, if I remember, you wanted to know the year-by-year breakdown, like are the payoffs later in the contract? Is that what you're looking for?
Yes. Yes. Finding out what year 4 and 5 end up costing them as opposed to the first 3.
So he gets a signing bonus of $15 million. That doesn't count for anything. Here's how it breaks down. The first 3 years of the contract, fully guaranteed at signing, that's $38 million. By March of 28, the guarantee increases to $46 million. The breakdown that Steve wanted was his 2026 base salary, $1.1 million. His 2027 base salary, $1.26 million, with an option bonus that's in the middle for $7 million. You get into a little cap wonkery here. When you get to 2028, base salary, $10.25 million. 2029, base salary, $21.75 million, with $13.5 guaranteed for injury right now. It was guaranteed at signing. 2030, his base salary is $21 million. Sorry, there are escalators throughout for MVPs and rushing and all this. What's that tell you?
It tells me that the fifth year, whatever it was, is probably not guaranteed. So you got to look at the first ones there. If it's 1.8 million type of thing against the cap, that's great. Hey, Detroit, you might want to look at this and give that contract type out and make it look really pretty. But if it's going to make team friendly, give it to them in the bonuses, even though those count against the cap if and when they do go away as well.
Doesn't say if the 2030 base salary, to the extent at which it is guaranteed, but all of this stuff becomes fully guaranteed as the escalators, as the time kicks in. So we're back. What did we have the number yesterday? It was 66 million total, I think, was guaranteed. And there's some specifics for the Bijan Robinson deal. The Chicago Bears rewarded right tackle Darnell Wright with a historic 4-year contract extension yesterday. $116 million with $93 million guaranteed. He is now the highest paid right tackle in NFL history after being selected 10th in the 2023 draft. He was a second-team All-Proer last year. Good signing for the Bears?
I think the Bears have to keep that offensive line at a premium. They want to keep Caleb Williams up. We watched his rookie year. He had no offensive line. He was running for his life. And last year, part of that big, improvement from the Bears is they've invested money in the offensive line. So great to see it. Caleb Williams has to be happy about it. And we'll see what the Bears do.
One of the more comical storylines out of camps is whatever the hell the Cleveland Browns are doing about their quarterback situation. And head coach Todd Monken has revealed his timeline for a decision to name a starting quarterback. All-Pro Shedeur Sanders and Deshaun Watson will each start a preseason game. This next week will determine who starts August 15th at Chicago and who starts the August 22nd home game against the Bills. And then the leader after that will start the final preseason game against the Patriots. And Todd Monken will know who his quarterback is. Good plan?
It depends. I mean, what's the plan? Normally, the first preseason game, they don't play any of the veterans. It's second string, third string, and from there. So maybe all pro quarterback, Sanders needs to bag it a little bit this week so that he can get the starters in the second game, because that's when the starters normally start to appear. And then he can look better for that quarterback competition because the first week, nobody plays.
So finally, Aaron Rodgers is on his latest tour of speaking and making an ass of himself, calling out Dr. Fauci for no reason. He wasn't asked about it, and also revealing he was sick during the playoffs last year before the 30-6 loss to Houston in Pittsburgh in the wild card round. He told Mike Silver of the Athletic, quote, "I wasn't feeling good. I actually came over to the team hotel and they sent me home because I was pale and looked like crap," end quote. His symptoms included fever and vomiting. He insisted that he had completely recovered before kickoff, which was confirmed by former Steelers offensive coordinator Arthur Smith, who said, quote, "Aaron's downplaying it. There was never a question he was going to play, but he looked terrible before the game," end quote. The game went off. Rodgers went 17 of 33 for 146 yards, no touchdowns, an interception, career low 50.8 postseason passer rating. The NFL has not commented yet. That doesn't mean the team will ignore it in this age of legalized and normalized betting. And along comes all of the opinion pieces. I'll go to profootballtalk.com and Mike Florio, who's usually pretty straightforward, whether he's right or wrong, whether you agree or not. He says the failure of the Steelers to update their injury report to reveal that Rodgers had an illness is a problem on its face. The league has no choice but to investigate. If the reporting is true, and he claims, Florio, Pro Football Talk claims they've confirmed it, it's all true, the league will have no choice but to act. Any approach that isn't that amounts to the league looking the other way on the Steelers concealing an important piece of inside information. And if the league is going to profit from gambling directly through sponsorships or indirectly by owners owning up to 5% of companies that operate sports books, the NFL cannot ignore clear instances of teams having inside information about a player's health and failing to reveal it. How many times did we have this story last year? The last two seasons. How many? I can't even remember all of them. How many times, Steve, were we talking weeks later about, oh, God, that guy was sick. Oh, he was hurt. Oh, he was tender. Oh, it was never reported. Here we go again.
In every sport, it's not just the NFL, and this is the problem. They all teach and say integrity. No, we're the utmost. We're upfront, honest with all. They've never been. I mean, I can roll back to LeBron breaking his hand in game one in one of those, championship series. I think it was the last one against the Warriors that I think they got swept in that series. And we didn't find out that LeBron broke his hand in game one until I think a month after it. It's been going on for a long time. We get, blue in the face from calling it out and saying they got to do something. The leagues don't care. They'll take your money. That's what they want. And they're just not going to pay that much attention. I'm convinced of that.
Well, my general opinion previously was I didn't care either because it sounded like pretty smart gamesmanship. I don't necessarily want the other team to know if my star player or a star player is tender in a certain area because I don't want them targeted. That all went away when we made gambling such a thing. You don't have that. I got it when Belichick was doing everybody's questionable. You can't for the reasons they said. You can't because of conflict of interest anymore do this.
And we've been saying this for so long, and that's why. I mean, prior, I'm with you. It's gamesmanship. I don't want the other team to know who's healthy, who's not. Let's go out and play the game and go forward. But the world changed when the Supreme Court allowed gambling in all, permittable in all states, whether or not the states have approved it. The part that just irritates me is the league's playing innocent, like, oh, we didn't know. come on, if you actually wanted this resolved, you would come down with a heavy hand and say, look, this is the punishment you're going to get. This cannot continue. But the leagues want it both ways. They want to make the money off the marketing, the advertising. As you said, they own stock in these companies that set the lines for these various sports. So they're getting money on the back end as well. They're also now NFL's like part owners of a sports book with ESPN. And to then sit there and play innocent, like, oh, we didn't know. They know, they just don't want to take responsibility, but they want to make all the money they can.
And I don't mean to seem naive, but what's to investigate? The player said it. The former offensive coordinator said it. What's to be? It's a 3-minute investigation. You don't even have to hire an outside firm if they were taking it seriously. This is easy. This is like, okay, you're really making your point here. What do they take seriously in the NBA and the NFL? Don't you dare criticize our officials. Boy, those fines right away. Next day. No investigation. Dude said it. Well, Aaron Rodgers said it. His OC said it.
And watch, it's going to be like a $500 fine. Oh, no, to the owner. Hey, look, you can't do this. We fined them. Like the equivalent of like 1/100th of a penny to you and I.
Hey, what does the Rooney family care about $500 or whatever they come up with? Have a great day. We're back tomorrow.
This has been a presentation of the Rob and Steve Sports Show, brought to you by the Rad Network and is copyrighted by the radnetwork.com and Williams Broadcasting for the private use of our audience. Any reproduction, accounts, or descriptions of whatever Rob and Steve just talked about without the express permission of the Rad Network